The man who cannot be manipulated does not need to control. His power lies in what he chooses not to react to. Not loud, not aggressive, not desperate, just composed, centered, complete. This is the man she didn't see coming. Because he doesn't chase, doesn't prove, doesn't perform. He simply is, solid, rooted, unshakable. And that calmness? It disorients her. Because most men fold under pressure. Most rush to appease, to please, to explain. But he doesn't even flinch. Where others reach for control, he leans deeper into stillness. Where others argue, he withdraws. Where others seek to win, he chooses to walk. Rule 1, he doesn't orbit her. He orbits purpose. She isn't his mission. She's a reward for staying on it. She's not the sun he revolves around. She's a star that aligns if the direction is true. He's not waiting by the phone. Not refreshing messages. Not interpreting emojis like scripture. Because his mind is elsewhere. On goals. On vision. On the empire he's quietly building. She wants to be the center. But he already has one. His purpose. His principles. His path. He doesn't rearrange his life for temporary affection. He honors the order that brought him peace. And if she fits, she's welcomed. If she doesn't, he keeps walking. Not because he's cold. Because he's committed. And nothing derails a man more than forgetting what he's here to do. Rule 2, he's present. But never predictable. She wants a script. A rhythm she can master. But he doesn't play by patterns she understands. Some days he's fire. Direct. Focused. Penetrating. Other days he's ice. Observant. Reserved. Calculating. He's not inconsistent. He's intentional. He knows that tension creates polarity. That mystery sustains desire. That availability without boundaries turns to boredom. She texts late at night. He waits until morning. Not to provoke, but because he doesn't rush energy that isn't urgent. He isn't cold. He's composed. And his presence isn't random. It's earned. She senses his warmth, then misses it when it's gone. Not because he's playing games, but because he's not here to entertain. He's here to lead. And a real leader doesn't react to demand. He sets the tempo. Rule 3, he sees through manipulation. She's used to being powerful. Used to silence working like a spell. Used to men folding when she frowns. But this man? He doesn't move. Not for guilt. Not for drama. Not for beauty. She withdraws? He mirrors. She sulks. He gets quieter. She tries to create distance to pull him in. He widens the gap. Not out of malice, but out of principle. Because a man who sees the game isn't forced to play it. He doesn't argue. He doesn't explain. He simply stops participating. And in that void, she sees her tactics unravel. Because manipulation only works on men who need the approval it threatens to withhold. But he doesn't need her validation. He needs peace. And anything that costs that gets cut. Rule 4, he doesn't argue. He exits. He doesn't yell. Doesn't engage in verbal warfare. Doesn't trade logic for emotion. Because he knows. The moment a man fights chaos, he's already losing. So he doesn't fight. He vanishes. If the tone shifts, he disengages. If the vibe breaks, he observes once, then leaves. Not with anger, but with silence. With a slow withdrawal that's louder than shouting. She throws words like daggers. He gives her distance instead of blood. Because he doesn't fight to win. He preserves to lead. And when she realizes he won't engage, she isn't arguing with him anymore. She's arguing with absence. With silence. With space that used to be full of masculine grounding. He's not afraid of confrontation. He simply doesn't feed confusion with energy. He only invests in clarity. And when clarity disappears, so does he. Rule 5, he makes her earn his softness. Affection isn't default. It's earned. He doesn't pour warmth into cold cups. Doesn't reward bad behavior with attention. Doesn't confuse access with intimacy. He watches. He waits. He listens with his eyes more than his ears. He wants to see what she does when he says no. How she acts when he's unavailable. What rises in her when she can't control him. She thinks he's guarded. He's not. He's refined. Because he knows. Giving too much too soon only teaches her to value him less. So he measures, paces, protects what is sacred. And when she finally brings peace, softness, surrender, he opens. And what she finds inside him is unforgettable. Not because he gives a lot, but because he gives what cannot be faked. Real presence, real protection, real masculine warmth that anchors her deeper into herself. Rule 6, he has nothing to prove. He doesn't advertise his value. He demonstrates it. He doesn't posture, doesn't brag, doesn't over-explain. Because power doesn't shout. It doesn't need to. It walks in, and people adjust. His silence is louder than noise. His eye contact more direct than monologues. His restraint more seductive than indulgence. She's used to men trying to impress. But he's not trying to win her. He's already won himself. She can feel it, in how he listens, in how he moves, in how he never leaves his center. He doesn't ask for respect. He lives in a way that commands it. And that kind of man leaves an imprint that can't be forgotten. Not because he told her who he is, but because she felt it in every interaction. Rule 7. He inspires devotion, not demand. She doesn't feel obligated to follow. She feels safe doing so, because his leadership isn't loud. It's consistent. He leads in his decisions, in his restraint, in his direction. He doesn't pull her forward. He walks, and she chooses to keep up, because with him she's not forced. She's invited. And the invitation isn't to comfort. It's to alignment, to order, to evolution. He has values. He has vision. And if she's bringing noise instead of support, he steps back, not to punish, to protect the mission. He doesn't demand surrender. He simply becomes the kind of man worth surrendering to. And when she feels that, she chooses to follow. Not from weakness, but from wisdom. Rule 8. He's not moved by beauty. He's moved by behavior. She's elegant. All eyes turn. But his don't linger. Not because he doesn't notice, but because he's seen what beauty without depth can destroy. He's dated chaos wrapped in curves. He's tasted lies served with a smile. And he's learned. A beautiful surface doesn't mean a peaceful life. So he watches. Not how she poses, but how she reacts, how she handles disappointment, how she treats those who can't serve her. She flirts. He observes. She tests. He listens for patterns. Because he knows. The real test of a woman's value isn't how she shines. It's how she stands in the shadows. And if her character doesn't match her appearance, he detaches. Because a man who values his peace will never be hypnotized by aesthetics alone. Rule 9. He embraces solitude over subjugation. He'd rather walk alone than be walked on. Rather sleep alone than lie beside chaos. Rather eat in silence than beg for peace at a loud table. He is whole. He is his own sanctuary. She senses this, that he's not afraid of losing her, because he never gave her the power to define him. That shakes her, because most men cling. Most men compromise. Most men crumble. But not him. He's alone, not lonely. And that solitude? It sharpens him, centers him, strengthens him. She's used to men being afraid of her absence. But he's more afraid of losing himself. And that fearlessness? It doesn't make him cold. It makes him irresistible. Because it signals one thing. He doesn't need to be chosen. He's already chosen himself. Rule 10. He gives without attachment. His love isn't a trap. It's a current. It flows. It warms. But it never floods recklessly. He doesn't overgive. Doesn't perform. Doesn't attach his worth to how much she receives. He gives as a reflection of who he is. Not a reaction to how she acts. And when she plays games, he withdraws the current. Because he won't let love be used against him. She feels it. That contrast. That depth. When he's present, it anchors her. When he's gone, it echoes in her bones. Because he never needed her. But now, she can't forget him. Rule 11. He protects his kingdom, not just his woman. He doesn't just guard his heart. He guards his world. His peace. His time. His standards. He doesn't allow chaos past his gates. Doesn't give access without alignment. She brings beauty? Great. But does she bring structure? Order? Peace? If not, she's escorted out. Not with drama. With precision. Because he doesn't protect for ego. He protects for legacy. For the future he's constructing brick by brick. And anyone who threatens that, no matter how stunning, is a threat. And threats don't get second chances. Rule 12. He can love deeply. But never blindly. He's not bitter. He's wise. He's felt betrayal. Held the weight of disappointment. Learned the cost of rushing into connection. So now, he's still capable of great love. But only when it's earned. Only when it's mirrored. Only when it uplifts both. She's sweet? Good. But can she stand through silence? Can she hold respect when it's inconvenient? That's what he watches for. Because he doesn't fall in love with chemistry. He falls in love with character. And if it's not there, he walks. Not with resentment, but with resolution, because his heart is valuable, and he doesn't give it to chance. Final law, he is the storm she didn't expect. Not because he breaks her, but because he shows her a man she didn't think existed. Through silence, through absence, through consistency, he leads, without needing to dominate. He protects, without needing to control. He transforms, not through pressure, but through presence. And when he's gone, she sees it, in the men who fold, in the boys who chase, in the arguments she wins, and quietly despises herself for, because in all her power, she still dreams of the one man she could never control.